Just lock that. Hello, hello. I am live, and there's no one in the waiting room. Hey, hey, Michael. How you doing? Thanks for joining. Hey, Luca. What's up? Just waiting on everybody to get started. Um, I don't expect a lot of people because I don't get like a gang of people. But thank y'all both for showing up. Just to let y'all know, some topics today or tonight are going to be National Poetry Month. I love poetry. I consider myself a poet. Um, and so every April is National Poetry Month. This is going to be the 30th anniversary, and so it's a big deal. It is the biggest, largest literary event in the world, so it's going to be exciting. I plan on, trying to do something like two poems a week, maybe three. I don't know that I'll be able to do that and keep that quality. I've already got one banked, but it'll certainly be a challenge for me. Something else is going to be Perfume, and I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I do like Perfume. It makes me feel good and femme, and I like the smell. Oh yeah, look at my eyeshadow. It's or eyeliner, whatever this stuff is called, not eyeliner, eyeshadow. Um, it is called the Sin, and oh, I forgot what it's called. It's like by Color Pop, and it just came out, and it's beautiful. It's like this is like a purple shade, and then like a sparkly purple, and it kind of fits because I've got on like purple today. I've been wearing and this is a dress. Like it's been dress weather here in the A, so that's been nice. I will talk about Perfume. Oh, let's see what else we got on these papers. Oh, yeah, one of the big things. And hopefully other people will join in. Thank you, Luca. Thank you. The top is actually a dress. So it's like a shirt dress type thing. Um, yeah, it's nice. And I like the material. So it's kind of stretchy. And it doesn't hug on my belly. It flares out, which is good. So, because I've got kind of a belly, I'm not gonna lie. Um, my medication has done that to me. Like HRT was supposed to shift the fat from my belly to my hips and ass. That didn't happen. Instead, what happened is it got more entrenched in my belly, and that sucks. But that's okay. There is exercise, which I find to be a pain in the ass, and there are GLP-1s, which none of my insurances will take. I mean, my insurance won't take any of them, and I cannot pay, $1,600 for a year of GLP-1. So I won't be doing that. The only other recourse is to find a way to get off some of the medication because I'm on a gang of medication right now. So find a way to get off the medication or off some of it. I can't get off all of it. Find a way to get off some of it, and then the weight should start to drop off slowly, and I should, start exercising more. Hey, Andrew, thanks for joining. Just going over topics for the night. But yeah, so the next big topic is going to be Trans Day of Visibility. That is always the 31st of March, the last day of the month. And I should mention that March is also National Women's Month. So that sometimes gets buried in Trans Day of Visibility and Trans Week of Visibility. But this is National Women's Month as well. So I think March 31st is also International Women's Day. I'm not 100 on that, but it could be, so don't clock me on that. we are going to be talking movies. Yay, movies. I love me some movies. Well, movies and TV shows. And really, I only like a few. I don't venture out of my zone. There's some that I watch over and over. Basically, I do watch them over and over. And that's it. I don't stray from the movies that I've watched over and over, or the TV shows. So we'll talk about that. And what else is going down on this little paper? Oh, I learned a new term today, and this is interesting. So I'm going to pull this up right here. Um, it's called, and I've heard this term before, but I've never heard the new term. So the old term apparently is scoliosexual, and so the new term is heterosexual, and that's CETERO sexual. And so heterosexual is someone who is attracted to all, like, well, not alternative, but genders, like transgender people, non-binary people, gender non-conforming, gender fluid, they cis hetero people, or setter hetero people, setter hetero, no, heterosexual, not hetero hetero, heterosexuals, heterosexual people like trans people, and it's not something where they're fetishizing it, although some people in the community do think that's the case. Hey, bees, what's up? Yeah, good to see you in the chat. As I was saying, there's going to be some things we're talking about. We're going to talk about some movies, National Poetry Month this year. Today, not Trans Day of Visibility. I'm not going to hit that much because I'm going to try and go live, that day, either early in the morning or late at night, because I do have lives that day with Wendy the Druid, and also with Brandon Elrich and Sturge at 5 o'clock. Wendy the Druid's usually at 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. And me, Brandon Elrich is so gay, and Sturge writes it down, are going to be hitting it at 5 o'clock p.m. Tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. That show is usually 1.5 to 2 hours, and we play a lot of shit and get kind of wild. I don't know if tomorrow's going to be like that, but we'll see. So yeah, heterosexual. So let me see if I have anything else on here. National Poetry Month. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Just want to, let's see, Rapture. Okay, so we're gonna start with National Poetry Month. What time with Brandon? So Brandon and I are going to be on both shows. Brandon and I will be with Wendy the Druid and Sarah and the poet Miranda at 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, and me, Brandon, and Sturge will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, Brandon and I should be on 2 together tomorrow. Yep. So, National Poetry Month is, hey, Samantha, thanks for coming in. Samantha, we need to get together and talk about some shit. So National Poetry Month is coming up. It's like I said, the largest literary event in the world. And, it's an exciting month for poets and for anybody who likes literature. The reason it was chosen for April is that it allowed teachers and children to also school students to learn about poetry. It was able to be taught in schools. This year is the 30th anniversary of National Poetry Month. Um, there are things that are done, like April 30th is going to be called a Poem in Your Pocket Day. And this is the day that is encouraged to share your poem, to give someone a poem, to publish it, or whatever you want to do. I myself am going to try and do two or three a week. I don't know how good they're gonna be. I can't guarantee anything good, and I can't guarantee anything that long. DUBs, yeah, I love writing poetry. Doesn't mean it's good, and that's okay. I'm not upset about that. I call myself the bloody awful poet. I do hit good poetry every once in a while, where it does work. But it's kind of strange. I don't know how other people write poetry, whether they sit down with an idea, and then let it marinate. Um, what usually happens to me is I hear a lyric in a song, or I smell something, or I see a color. And in the color or the scent or the song, there strikes inspiration. And sometimes it's fully formed. The thought is there. The full picture of where it's going, the full picture of where it will end up is there. It's just a matter of trying to find a way to get there. So that's the fun in poetry for me. Also, I like to abstract my shit sometimes, so that the lines are blurred and people don't know well, people can make their own interpretation. I know what it means for me, and a lot of times that is good for the reader because they can put their own stamp on it. Yeah. So, gala, the Poetry and Creative Mind virtual gala will take place on April 28th. Um, so let's see what else we have here. Yep. Just so poetry, poetry, poetry. Yay. Um, what's the oh yeah. Good thing. The theme for World Poetry Month is poetry as a bridge for peace and inclusion. And I can't think of anything better in this time uh, of strife and fighting and not inclusion to work on trying to write poems through inclusion. Your poem scheduled for tomorrow was based off the thought of what Amazon rainforest must feel about very interesting. That's a great take. Yeah, that is a really great take. Are you publishing it on Substack, or do you have another site? If it's on Substack, I'll check it out. Or if it's on another site, let me know. Yeah, because all my work is on OnyxRose.com, OnyxRose.net. I'm sorry. Okay, it's on Substack. I'll check it out. Yeah, so Bridge for Peace and Inclusion, focusing on poetry's role in dismantling divides and uniting voices. Um, just to be fair, though, poetry can unite voices and dismantle divides, but it can and in uniting voices it can unite against the it can unite classes. Instead of races, yeah, it can unite races and ethnicities, but we also want to unite the class system. The fact that there are billionaires and then there's us. We need to rally us. And in saying that, it's also for trans people, non-binary people, genderqueer, gender fluid. You know, we've got us. So we have to think about us. The government is not going to help us. The police are not going to help us. Most people are not going to help us. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how come I got on that little side rant. That's usually what happens, though. So Let's see. Cultural expression, celebrating diverse voices and using poetry as a tool for connecting cultures and exploring shared humanity. And that does sound good. That, there is, there is a common thread that runs through all people. Um, and it's just a matter of finding that thread and, then finding the words to unite or tie. Um, the poem to that person, and that works pretty good when you can hit it. When you finally hit it, it's wonderful. It feels good. Yeah, when you get a good poem, when you write one, and it's good, it's an amazing feeling, because you're just like, "Yeah, that is how I should be writing." It may not always happen, but it's like, that is how I should be writing. Um, yeah, like, let's see, social media, uh, hashtag um, World Poetry Day 2026. That's the big one. The one thing that, and I should have known this before, so naughty, naughty me. My teachers and professors are going to be pissed. Um, but apparently you are not supposed to share poetry that is um, not older than 70 years old. Um, no, yeah, you can't share poetry younger than 70 years old or as long as the author's alive. So it is 70 years after the author dies that you cannot share the poetry online anywhere unless you have the publisher's or whomever's stamp of approval. Um, and yeah, there are things that you can do, like you can read snippets and then discuss, um, what they mean, or you might be able to read a whole poem and discuss what they mean. But legally, I don't think you're supposed to use a poem from like from any time within the last 70 years of an author's death. A lot of what people use, like Pablo Neruda. Yeah, Pablo Neruda. Most of what people use and quote, is supposed to not be used. And that is something that I just found out, and I was chastised about, and rightly so. It was a nice chastising, but it was chastising nonetheless, and it was nice, and it was needed. Now I know, because my favorite poet is a guy named David Tillinghast, and he is a poet who taught at Clemson University, lives in Memphis, I think, may or may not still be alive. He has a brother, I think his name is Robert Tillinghast, and he's the more famous of the two. So David Tillinghast has the book called Women Who Runs with Wolves, and Other Poems. And it's out of print now, as far as I can tell. You might be able to get it on like Powell's or something like that. Um, hey, Julie, thank you for showing up. Yeah, so you might be able to get it at Powell's. I happen to get it at a bookstore named Oxford Books in Atlanta. Uh, and I think I got this book in 1989 or 1990. It's a book of poems. It's signed. It's kind of ratty tatty, but I remember, hey Julie, hey Joe. But I remember that when before I bought it, I remember sitting in the rows, and there were books of poems all over the place. Um, and I remember just sitting there and being stunned, by this work. And so there were two poems I remember immediately and still do to this day. One is called Ricochet, and the other is called You Stunning. And if anybody can find David Tillinghast, Women Who Run with Wolves, and read either of those poems and the rest of them, I think you'll really get a great appreciation for him. He has other books out that you can get on Amazon, I think, other poetry books. Um, I'm not too familiar with his latest or the yeah, his latest. I have it, but I haven't really used it as much because I'm so entranced with his first one. So yeah, but Women Who Run with Wolves, great book of poetry. It is something that's stamped in my heart. It will never go away from me until I start to forget things, and then of course it'll go away. But for now, that'll be okay. So yeah, let's all remember Trans Day of Visibility for the people who just came in is March 31st. What I'd like for y'all to do, if you are trans, definitely speak out. Get on live and just for 5-10 minutes, shout out your trans peeps. If you are allies, then I need you to get in the notes. I need you to get on lives. I need you to shout out all trans people and non-binary people. We need to make sure that we get the word out that it is Trans Day of Visibility. And the reason it is because we're celebrating trans people. We have Trans Day of Remembrance for mourning our trans peeps. We have Trans Day of Visibility for celebrating our trans peeps, for celebrating what we've done, how we've survived, so on and so forth. That includes our allies, always will. We need our allies to speak up on our behalf, speak up for us when we're not in the room. If someone says some shit, speak up. And yeah, so that's my little rant for Trans Day of Visibility. There will be more coming up. Yeah. So I did write a lot about Trans Day of Visibility. Yes, I did. So yeah, let me just go into a bunch of it. Go live, trans people, different for celebration. Okay, so the first Trans Day of Disability was created in 2009. And I think I wrote the person's name down. She is an activist. Her name is, oh no, oh no. I didn't write it down, did I? Okay, hold on. It's right here. Who is this person who wrote it? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry about that. Rachel Crandall Crocker chose the uh, the day of March 31st because it was far enough from Pride in June and far enough from Trans Day of Remembrance in November. And the reason for that is because it is a celebration. So, let's see what else I've got on that. Started in 2009, activists. Oh, President Biden was the first president to recognize Trans Day of Visibility as a holiday. Now, the reason why I'm saying we need everybody who can to speak up this year is because we know the administration and we know how they've erased trans history. They are actively erasing trans history. My guess is that something will happen on Trans Day of Visibility. We need to counteract that. Anybody who's a writer, anybody who's a poet, anybody who's a content creator, we need to capture history, not their history, the real history, how it really went down, so people can know. We pass these down through the generations if it has to be done that way. Bards, griots, both the same thing. Bard is Celtic, griot is West African. They're storytellers. They keep the oral tradition alive, passing it down from generation to generation, family to family, person to person, to keep the real history alive. Not the sanitized version, not the scrubbed version, but what really went down and how people felt. Yeah. Chronicling my way through the chaos. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. So that there will be a record, you know. Um, let's see. So mm, I think that's really all I have on TDOV for right now. Um, Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I did say I learned a new term. It was called heterosexual. For those who are not in here, it's CETERO sexual. And heterosexual used to be called scoliosexual. That name was changed because scolio means something like bent back, and people were like, you know, this just doesn't fit. So heterosexual means something like other than cis. So heterosexual means someone who likes trans people, non-binary people, gender queer, gender fluid, you know, just not necessarily cis people. Um, so, well, not cis people at all. They like trans people. And so in the community, there is, you know, rightfully so, a discussion whether these people who like specifically and only trans people, whether they're fetishizing us, you know. And sometimes it will happen, sometimes it doesn't, you know. A lot of times it does happen, and you know, sometimes it doesn't. Um, that is That is interesting, and it's been a debate for a long time. The term is new, but the debate is the same. It has been. Um, so that yeah, that's the new term of the day, heterosexual. Um, so now I'm gonna jump onto movie. Oh wait, let me do perfume really quickly. So okay, my guy just went and got me curry. Enough said. Love perhaps. I'm just silly. Enough said. Love. Yeah, no, Joe, that's awesome. Curry, you know, curry is a love language. Yeah. You know, if someone's getting you food, that's a love language, you know. um, but yeah, perfume. Perfume. My favorite perfume. I wear it. It's my signature perfume. I've been wearing it ever since it came out. Is Burberry Goddess. You know, I do like. I understand Burberry is kind of like hoity-toity, put your nose up. But the perfume is just delicious. You know, it does have those warm vanilla tones, and so that's the kind of thing I like. I also like there's something called Calle Ocho, and that is by something in Forrester, Rourke and Forrester or something like that. Um, and that smells pretty good. Also, now Rihanna's perfume, Fenty. I don't know what it's called, but it's their perfume, and it smells really good. Like I didn't like it in the beginning, but it smells good on me. I don't know if it smells good on anyone else because I haven't smelled it on anyone else, but it definitely smells good on me. Potion Red. Who love Potion Red? Okay. Yeah. Um, Oh, you wear Billie Eilish's perfume, Luca. Okay. Okay. I have not smelled that. I've not smelled Love Potion Red either. Um, I do I also use like let's see, what else do I use? I think those are the two main ones I use right now. I the Rihanna and the Burberry Goddess. I do kind of mix those. What I'll do is I'll spray me with the Burberry, and then I will spray my clothing and let it sit out with the Fenty, so the smell hits differently. Yes, yes, it really does. It does, and that's the thing. Me and Egg, you know, Egg, I had her try on the Burberry, and she was like, you know, it smells okay. But then she tried on the Calle Ocho, and it hit hard. Like, it smells really good on her. It smells okay on me. It doesn't smell that good on me. But the Burberry Goddess smells great on me, excellent. Like, it is sensual, yeah. Um, and then the Rihanna just kicks it up a notch. I also have, like, oils that I use, and it's, like, Oshun oil, from, like, oh goodness, what's it called? Hold on, let's see, right here. Um, Sun's Eye. Yeah, Sun's Eye, and you can get this at, like, any magic shop, any, metaphysical store, that sells, like, crystals and shit like that. It's called Oshun oil, and I do use that. Yum. So far, how our chemistry changes scents. Yeah, yeah. Some chemistry does change scents. Yes, yes. And everybody's chemistry is different. So what works for one may not work for the other. And what smells on one is definitely not going to smell on the other. Yeah. So perfume, love it. I use it all the time. I bathe in that shit. I'm gonna be honest. I over perfume sometimes, and that's because I just like to smell myself. It's not really for anybody else. It's for me, which is groovy. So now we are gonna get into movies, groovy movies. I'm a poet and didn't know it. So movies. First of all, so there is this movie, Funny How. Let's see, so far, funny how our chemistry changes things. Is that no? So far, my how. Funny how. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. I got it. So we are going to jump to movies right now and TV shows. So my TV show, I don't know how to like. So I have two favorite TV shows of all time, and I have an absolute favorite TV show of all time, and that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So back in the '90s and the 2000s, I was in a really bad state. And when I say Buffy the Vampire Slayer literally saved my life, I am not joking. Like, I am not joking. So I just got so caught up in it back then, and the raw emotions that I was feeling matched with the emotions of the TV show. And I then got sucked into the world. I was, a participant in the Bronze. Um, yeah, and, I just it was oh god, it's so beautiful, and I do rewatches all the time. I know all the episodes, I know, all the lines still to this day, and you gotta remember Buffy came out in, 1997 and ended in 2003, and I still know all the lines. RIP Nicholas Brendan, who just died of natural causes at 54 in his sleep. Um, Natural causes at 54. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, to be completely honest. I guess people do die of natural causes that early. You know, maybe. Either way, he had a troubled life. There was a lot of domestic abuse, a lot of drugs and alcohol, some arrests, so he had a troubled life. And yeah, he was Nicholas Brendan played Xander on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, dead at 54. So R.I.P. Dawn died last year, last year or the year before, Michelle Trachtenberg. So R.I.P. Michelle, Dawn. So like Buffy cast is dropping, but they're young, they're my age, or a little bit older. Okay, so you never watched Buffy when it was on. Only started recently, had to break up with halfway through season 5. Why'd you have to break up with it halfway through season 5? Oh no, Luca, tell me. Season 5 is awesome to me. Season 5 is one of my favorite seasons. Um, Spaceballs. Corny and silly, but was nice to have a lighthearted evening. Yeah, I would yeah, I could see that. I haven't seen Spaceballs in a long time. It was not my favorite, to be completely honest. Oh, Luca. Fuck. Yes. Yes. I can barely watch that episode. The first time I watched it, I was not prepared, and I don't think anybody was prepared when it came out. I absolutely lost my shit. Absolutely. It was ugly, ugly, ugly. Um, it's still hard to watch that episode. I don't think I watch it anymore. Egg can't watch it anymore. Um Yeah, yeah, it was rough, and it still is rough, but, season 5, because of that, and Don's appearance and Glorificus, who is probably my favorite big bad, because of that, and, Spike, becoming the anti-hero or the hero, the popular choice, that he became. And of course, I was always a Buffy Angel shipper, Bangle, as it was called, as they are called, as opposed to Spike and Buffy Spuffy. There are a lot of people who like Spike and Buffy together and say that Spike really did have a soul, and he did get his soul back. So, but I do like Spike. I call myself the bloody angry poet after the bloody awful poet after Spike, who was named originally the bloody awful poet. So that's where I get the name. But yeah, so Buffy is really good. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 are different in that they are high school. Seasons 4, 5, and 6, then they grow up. And, by season 7, it's, school is cool, but, Luca, I suggest you finish it. Oh no, Joe, you were a Buffy virgin. Well, let me tell you where it is right now. It's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, go ahead and watch it. Yeah, it's got 7 seasons. Oh shit, like 100. Oh my god, 123 to 127 episodes. I can't remember. And they're all like 48 minutes long. That's the thing about TV back then. You don't have the bullshit like you have now. Like where you have like 8 episodes that are like, an hour and 10 minutes. And then you have to wait like 6 months for the next 8 episodes. Well, back then, the problem that I hated back then that I had was that you had to wait every week. And it like was so hard for me, like it was torture, but it was exquisite pain. I was in so much pain back then that all the pain that they felt, I felt. All the tears, all the joy, all the darkness, I felt it all. I was going through a range of emotions, and like my favorite of all time Buffy monologues is is not Spike's but Angel's in Passion in season 2, when he kills Jenny Calendar, um, and and Giles thinks that Jenny is waiting for him at his house, and then he watches Buffy and Willow get the call from Giles, and then he goes on this beautiful monologue, and that, yeah. Right. Luca, yeah, there was no streaming back then, so you had to watch every week, and it was like every week, and they would end on a cliffhanger, and you had to wait 3 months till it came back on, So, like, they like, when Dawn came, everybody was like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, who is this?" And we had to wait 3 months to find out. So, but, yeah, let's see. Joe, you have a VPN and haven't. seen an advertisement in years. Yeah, Proton. Yeah, so I have a VPN that I use. It's ExpressVPN, and it is. Wait, what is it called? I don't think it's called Express. It is. It is called Express VPN. I've been using it for years. Have not had a problem. I can switch from city to city in the United States, and then I can switch from country to country and cities in different countries. And I know Proton has a good one. I just haven't used it yet. I do have Proton, and I am switching in the process of switching everything over to Proton. And I may quit my Express VPN this year when it's over. Um, but I may not, because I do like it. Um, yeah, but Proton does work. VPNs are cool. Everybody should have a VPN. Watched a few episodes. Yes, Spike was living in Xander's basement. That was some funny shit. That was some really funny shit. Spike and Xander played well off of each other, you know. So um Gilmore Girls, I'm sorry, not Gilmore Girls, Angel, of course, in the Buffyverse. Um Dollhouse. What is the other one? The Space Odyssey one. The oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. Not Victory. I can't remember it. You do pay 150 a year for is yeah, that's for Proton, but you have a 2 terabyte hard drive show. Because I think that's what it is, a 2 terabyte hard drive. You get the VPN, you get the calendar, you get the emails with the different aliases, and you get domain setup and all of that. Okay, Lucas. So here we go. Gilmore Girls. Okay. So I didn't get to see Gilmore Girls when it was originally airing. So Gilmore Girls aired from 2000 to 2007. So 7 seasons. Same thing, 48 minutes an episode. So an hour an episode plus minus commercials, like 48 minutes. So Gilmore Girls, I have seen every single episode, probably, and you can ask Egg. This is not a joke. I am not even joking. Probably 400 times, if not more, every single episode. So I watch at least 2 episodes a day, every single day, and have been doing this for, well, it's 2000. Oh my God. Since like 2014, 2013, I've been watching Gilmore Girls every single day. And before that, when I first discovered it, it was on soap TV. Um, it was a soap opera television, soap opera, soap TV. So they would play like 3 or 4 episodes, Gilmore Girls, and then I was on Up TV, and they would play Gilmore Girls. And right after Gilmore Girls would come Reba. So I got to see Reba too. And honestly, Reba was fucking awesome. Loved it. But Gilmore Girls, yeah, they talk fast, and that's the point of the show. One of the points of the show. It's kind of, one of the things that's interesting is that there's no ad libbing. Everything you hear has been written down specifically for that character and the way they're supposed to say it. So the jokes land. There's a lot of jokes that people miss. A lot of inside jokes. Uh, Reba was very funny. I thought it was really good. They tackled a lot of stuff. Now, it is Reba, so you got to take. I still liked it. But Gilmore Girls, yeah, I watch every day. I can quote. Me and Egg use lines in Gilmore Girls when we want to like leave a function. We will say like no windows or some shit like that. So like it's kind of funny. We finish each other's sentences with Gilmore Girls references. Um, the next, so now here comes some gay movies and TV shows. The first gay movie, not gay, but queer. I'm gonna say queer because it's not gay. This is a, for all intents and purposes, a straight movie, but it's not. It's a trans movie. So for all my trans people in there, oh yes, Joe. Um, Farscape. I have I what is Farscape? I haven't heard of what streaming platform is it on? Is it Star Trek or no? Farscape. I've not heard of it. Um, Let me know, Joe. But the first movie is on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, please watch this movie. It came out in 2015. It is an ND movie about a trans girl in a small town. Um, and there's a little twists and turns, like tiny twists and turns. Um, well, no, there's twists and turns. Nothing like, trans girl gets killed, nothing like that. This is a happy trans movie, you know. So one of the few happy trans movies where, there's not really any violence against trans women or anything like that. Um, so it's called Boy Meets Girl, and I think everyone should watch it, but I definitely think trans people and queer people should watch it. It is an indie film, so I don't know if it was put out in 2015, so there's some terms that are going to be kind of off, like they do use genetic girl, and I remember because that, I back in 2015, 2014, 2013, that was the terminology, was genetic girl, GG, and in the chat rooms, I wish I was a GG, genetic girl. We don't say that shit anymore, but back then people did say that. Uh, so there are some things that you just kind of have to take with a grain of salt, but the movie itself is wonderful, and that is something I watch just about every day. I watched it twice today, twice. I watched it twice. To me, it is that good of a movie. It's a very fast movie. It's like an hour 30, an hour 45 minutes. It's on Hulu, so it's called Boy Meets Girl. um, I hope y'all will watch it. The next one is on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's free for me, and I guess that's because I have Prime. It's called Imagine Me and You, and I'm sure some of y'all out there have heard about it. It's got oh, what is her name? I can never remember her name, but she's been in a lot of movies. But Imagine Me and You is about um, a like the question of, can you fall in love at first glance, you know? And that's the premise of the movie. Um, it is a queer movie. So, I won't give away too much if y'all haven't seen it. It's just called Imagine Me and You. It does involve uh, a couple of women who are lesbians or something so forth. Um, it is a British movie, I think, or yeah, it is a British movie. And or maybe it's not a British movie, but there are British people in there or people who use British accents. I don't know. Oh, but you know who is in it? In Imagine Me and You is Anthony Head. Giles. Giles is in it. Yeah. It's called Imagine Me and You. And it is on Prime. It's free, I think. So get out there, scramble, and watch it. The next one, always I throw on any list of TV shows that I love to watch. And I do watch these over and over. As a matter of fact, I bought the box set, not the box set, but I bought each season from Prime. So I own them digitally. The series is called Noah's Ark. And Noah's Ark is one of those, and one of the few black, black, primarily black and only black gay series. So you know, it focused on black gay men in West Hollywood. Um, Noah is the head of the show, not the head of the show, but the center of the show, the center of the universe, and everything revolves around him. And the stories are great. You know, they tackle the subjects that were important when it came out and are still important today. So, you know, it just goes to show how far we've gone and how far we've come, and in some ways, how far we haven't come or haven't gone. Noah's Ark, everybody, NOAH apostrophe SARC. And by the way, Noah's hot. So his name is Daryl Stevens as an actor, but the character Noah is fucking stunning, like beautiful. He's got beautiful hair, beautiful chocolate skin. You know, he's just he's a beautiful man. Yeah. So Noah's Ark, everybody. Rent, you know. So Rent. I've played Rent. So the movie, not the Broadway show, which I saw. But the movie, um, of course, I have it on DVD, and we started playing it on DVD. And then, you know, we got it on streaming, and I watched it so much that Egg finally was just like, you know what? I've had enough. I can't watch this movie ever again. I can't be around you when you watch this movie. So just tell me if you're gonna watch this movie. Tell me, and I will leave. But so Rent, yeah, you know, I am a big musical fan. Rent just hits all the right notes. Yeah. So the next movie is oh shit. Okay. So Boy Meets Girl, I cry at the end. So I usually don't watch it if I don't want to cry. Hey Sacred. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So yeah, Boy Meets Girl, it will have you in tears at the end, but happy tears, you know. But sometimes it overwhelms me and I'm like, no, I can't watch it. So I don't. Like there's a certain part I cut it off. Um, but and also with this movie as well coming up, Nimona. And I don't know if y'all have seen Nimona. Nimona is on, yeah, Nimona is on Netflix, and whew, that's such a ride. It's a great movie, and it's funny, and it's great, and then in the end, it just destroys me, like absolutely destroys me. Um, so and I cry like all the time. Every single time I see that movie, in the end, I cry. It's beautiful, cathartic. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful animated movie, and I don't really do animation as much, but it's a good movie. Um, so Nimona Set It Off. Set It Off came out a long ass time ago. Queen Latifah was in it. I think Jada Pinkett Smith was in it. Um, some other people. But Set It Off was a great movie, y'all. Yeah, Set It Off. Queen Latifah. I remember that. Let me just be sure. Queen Latifah was the first album I ever bought on my own. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, so those are some movies that I really do enjoy, and movies that movies and shows that I watch over and over. And like I said, this is pretty much the list, y'all. I don't watch anything else other than these. Like Egg has been trying to get me to watch Sinners for months now. Um, and I just can't. At this point, I really do think that it may have manifested as something. I don't know how to say it, but okay. So yeah, I do. I read somewhere a while ago that people who watch the same shows over and over, um, often are higher in creativity, but also have higher anxiety. And we are doing this to calm the anxiety because we know what's going to happen, you know? So while we can watch it over and over and find new things, we know what's going to happen in the end. Whereas with a new movie or new TV show, we don't know. And at least for me, I can it makes me like the amount of like getting myself up to watch something new is stressful. It is, and that's why I haven't watched Heartbreakers season 2 or 3. I watched Heartbreakers season 1 and once again cried because it was so beautiful. It's so good to see queer movies where queer people are not getting killed, like that. The whole stereotype of queer people is not in any of these fucking movies, and this is great. I feel like it's just like the lesbian trope, but it's just like the gay man trope. These things, it's like the black man in the horror movies, or any black person in the horror movies. They're always dead first. I think it's kind of funny that they said LL Cool J, it was the first black man to survive a horror movie, with that water movie, or that shark movie or some shit like that. I don't remember. Yeah, but that's what the culture is saying, that LL Cool J was the first black man to survive a horror movie. Yeah. uh, so Sacred, Julie, I don't know if y'all were in here at the time. I'm gonna just reiterate this. Um, TDOV, Trans Day of Visibility, is coming up rapidly. It is approaching in now 1 day and some hours. It is March 31st. I need for everybody in this chat to post something. It can be a meme. It can be your own words. It can be words of support. It can be alive for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Just get out the word. Um, Hello, Susan. I like the way that's spelled. I was just saying about Trans Day of Visibility. So it is March 31st. Everybody act accordingly. Support your trans people. We need support right now. Um, we need support from everybody, our allies especially, because we can't do it alone. There are not enough of us. We need people on our side. We need people to talk about us in rooms where we aren't, we need people who will be sympathetic to us and strong against other people who would put us down. Um, you know, so own up on your trans history and stick up for us. Um, so what should you say? You should say Trans Day of Visibility was created in an opposite way of Trans Day of Visibility was created to celebrate trans people, as opposed to Trans Day of Remembrance, which is in November, where we mourn the dead trans people. Um, this is not mourning, this is a celebration. So we want to celebrate trans people, and we want to celebrate the uniqueness of ourselves. We want to celebrate the fact that trans people are extremely brave, the fact that we go against what society deems to be natural and normal and still do it. The fact that I can get up every day and put on a dress and makeup with this deep voice and say, you know what, fuck you, society. So when I say speak up about trans people, I would hope that you would say trans people are just like any other people and deserve every single right that you and I have. Trans people are special. Trans people, not special like eat the paste, but special as in we have been treated as holy, as spiritual guides, way before colonization. That's what I mean. We are special. Thanks, bees. Have a great night. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, so just some touch points like that. You can definitely look online, see some little things, but you just want to be positive about trans people. You want to say, as an ally, I appreciate the position of trans people. I understand the position they've been put in, and this administration has made it extremely hard. And yes, genocide. We want to go ahead and say that word. I don't want to say G-side. I don't want to say the word that cannot be said. Genocide. Okay, genocide. It is happening. So I can't express enough how quickly this is happening. It is quick, and a lot of cis people are not seeing it, but they are quickly shutting down everything for trans people, and it's getting scary. It's getting scary really fast. Um, yes, sacred. That's perfect. That is perfect. Um, yeah, truly eat the face special. That is from Gilmore Girls, and I do use that all the time. Yeah, so sacred, that is perfect. I love that. And I think that's what everybody should say. Especially if you know trans people, then you speak to the kindness, hopefully the kindness that they have, the knowledge that they have, the power that they have in standing in their own truth. When we come out and like Trauma Talk, when we talk Monday and Friday at 1 or 2 p.m., and we open ourselves and we bleed ourselves and we open wounds, it's not because it's fun. We do it because the people who are listening don't and may not know about trans lives, may not know about the struggle, the mental struggle that becomes physical, the anxiety, that goes along with gender dysphoria. People may not know about that and may not actually understand that. And you may not, as a cis person, be able to fully understand it, but to understand that people as young as the age of 2, 1, 3, understand fundamentally that they are not supposed to be the person or the what they were assigned at birth. Fundamentally, like they understand. I did not have that foresight. You know, Completely honest, didn't have that foresight. Excuse me, at that young, but it was in my late teens, early 20s. So, and I knew it. I just couldn't, there was no word for it at that point that I could find. Um, I searched, and if you've heard other stories about this, Trauma Talk has been incredibly helpful. Thank you, Luca. Yeah, it is. It is. Sometimes it gets really hard. Sometimes it gets really hard, but it is always informational. But yeah, so it's. I don't know. When we do this as trans people, um, we do this so that so so we do this for two reasons. I do this for two reasons. The first reason I do it is for trans people. Um, I shine a light on myself so that trans people younger than me or older than me in the closet, or who don't know they're trans just yet but feel some type of way, so that they can see themselves in me. And I know that this happens because I've been thanked by multiple parents, about how their child saw me and me living my truth, and then decided living their truth. And so it happens, and that's what I want to be. I want to be that person who shines the light on myself and shines the light on the next generation, or the generation now. I want people to be happy in their chosen gender. And if you choose to be cis, that's fine, if you but to me, if you like, I don't know, it's hard for me because I've never been cis, so I mean, like, it's hard for me to think, okay, well, that's hard for me. But it's hard for me like it's hard for people who are not trans to comprehend what trans people go through. You know, it's hard for people to understand that, yeah, I've had surgeries to get to where I am. I don't look much different, you know. I really don't. But these surgeries were because of the internal pain that I was feeling, emotional, mental, and then it became physical. So, you know, I had to do this. Like the emotional and mental and then physical pain almost killed me several times, um, to the point where transition saved me. And you know, I say I chose life so I transitioned, but that's not it. I chose transition, so I lived, and that's what it is. If I had never chose transition or chosen transition, I would not be well, but yeah, so it's a way of sharing information. That's why trauma talk is so important to me. You know, we I do shows that are a lot less. That are a lot lighter, like me, Brandon, and Sturge will do a show tomorrow, and that'll be fun, fun, fun. We'll do like fuck, Mary swipe left, and that's always fun because you know it's two gays and a non-binary person. So you know, oftentimes we'll be throwing up some hot guys, you know, and like I try and throw in some non-binary people. You know, one time we did like trans and non-binary fuck Mary swipe left, and of course, you know, Brandon and Sturge are gay, so they're like, you know, it's like y'all got to choose someone. So, but yeah, that shit's fun. And like I said, that's usually 2 hours. We're gonna do something that I like to do now, and that's where me and Brandon and Sturge will trade 5 songs and there's a plus one, so it's a total of 6 songs, and we'll discuss them. You know, and for me, this is a way to get to know people better, like through the music they listen to. I really do believe that music is so transformative and so informative. You know, it informs me on what you believe, what you like, what you think, you know, what your soul thinks. I picked that all up from your musical taste. So when I ask someone for 5 songs that they're listening to right now, not necessarily their 5 favorite songs, because to me that would be impossible to do. I can't even pick a favorite song from 2 weeks ago or like this week, you know. Um, so I can pick several, but I can pick songs that I've been listening to, you know, or that come into my head. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick some songs, trade them, uh, talk about them, and learn a little bit more about each other. And that's kind of fun. I think that Samantha is in here and Samantha Page. If Samantha Page is still in here, me and them are going to cut it up Thursday, I think. We're not settled on a time, but yeah, we're gonna do a chat and we're gonna do the 5 songs plus one, I think, as well. We just need to nail down a time. So Samantha hit me up late. Let's see, you're born cis. I am cis, but I don't understand. But I don't understand gay, lesbian, trans. But I don't have to, right? Accept people where they are, and I honor. Thank you, Sacred. Yeah, and, you know, at the end of the day, you are 100% right. It doesn't matter that we don't understand, you know? It doesn't matter a jot. What matters is that we're people, you know? We're all people, and as people, you know, we share that common thread of humanity. Um, you know, we should treat each other like equals, like people, you know, with just you know, I yeah, you know, like thank you, Sacred. It's the hardest thing for me to understand is not cis or trans, but like the hate, the downright absolute hate that a lot of people can have, you know? I'm not saying, like, just, like, so we most of us in here hate Donald Trump, and, I don't know, he's just a piece of shit, so I understand why. But, you know, for people to hate large groups of people just because of like what they look like, or how they were born and how they identify, so on and so forth, is just, it's wild to me. you know is definitely wild. Hey, Margaret, thank you so much. Yeah, it's wild, and I've had a lot of that in my life. I've experienced a lot of racism. You know, every platform I've been on has been racist in some way, shape, or form. Every place I've lived, with the exception, so I lived on an army base until I was 15. Um, and then we moved to Atlanta. Atlanta was the first time I had okay, Atlanta was the first time I had seen so many fucking white people, you know? Like, it not Atlanta proper, but Marietta, the suburb, the metro part of Atlanta, and not just Marietta, but East Cobb. And so, if you know anything about Atlanta, then oh shit, am I frozen? Okay, so if you know anything about Atlanta, you know that East Cobb is the snobbiest, whitest, most conservative motherfucking place in Georgia. Well, in the metro Atlanta area, East Cobb. But so back then, East Cobb was like 98.9% white. In my graduating class, there were six black people, and this is a graduating class of like 1,200. Yeah, I got the nickname Regan, Reggin. And I was like, yeah, I got a nickname. Cool. My football mates are giving me a nickname. And then homie said, spell it backwards. Yeah. And it was like Nigger. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? What the absolute fuck? Um, yeah, racism every day. Microaggressions every day. You know, it's kind of funny because me and Egg did a live on racism, not racism, interracial marriages and interracial dating, which of course spirals into racism. And Egg did not, yeah, sacred, yeah. Egg did not know the microaggressions that black people face every single fucking day. She just didn't know because she's a white woman, called an Oyembo, in Yoruba, and she hadn't been in an interracial relationship, and she hadn't been married to a black person. So it was an eye opener for her. She was shocked and uh, saddened beyond, like, she was hysterical, for a little bit. She could, she I mean, it just, I think it broke her heart for a little bit. She's become so much more strong. She understands the microaggressions. She has done a lot of work herself, which is important, especially when you're dating someone of another race or ethnicity. You have to do the work to decenter yourself, especially if it is what's quote unquote a minority. You have to decenter yourself as a white person, and learn to be anti-racist, not just say I'm not racist. You have to learn to be anti-racist, and you need to learn to speak up every single time against racism, not to let it go. Make it awkward, make it embarrassing. Make sure that people don't get away with it, because inactivity and I forget the other word, I had it in my head, but not it's not inactivity, but not speaking up is what happens. Not speaking up allows the microaggressions to become macroaggressions, Um, white people not speaking up is how well, we're not gonna get into that, but yeah, speak up. So, like I said, Egg had never dated a black person, had never dated anyone outside of a white person, so she had a lot to learn. Um, she learned about black people. She learned, my family loves her, so obvious. She learned how to do my hair. She does my hair, and so like learning how to do black hair is a thing. There are not, white stylists. A lot of white stylists don't do black hair, and Egg is like, why? Now she's like, why? Why? The fact of the matter is, black hair is amazing. It can be styled so many ways, and takes hours and costs a lot to maintain. Um, my locks, don't get it twisted. My locks take a lot to maintain. I have spent so much money maintaining my locks. Well, in the beginning, I spent, like I said, I don't know if y'all heard me before, but I spent $180 every 2 weeks just to maintain for a year and a half. And then Egg learned, by watching YouTube videos and just doing it. And so now, like, look at my hair. She did it yesterday. It's looking good. Let's fly. Yeah, so I like it. But like when I get a fresh retwist, it's looking good. I like it. And then pretty soon my nails. So I have a trimmer. Let's see if you can see it. Um, you see that? It's because of my medication. And so, when I get high and smoke weed, like right after I smoke, my trimmer gets even worse. I'm not high. Well, I haven't smoked since I got online, but I smoked right before. Shit, not gonna lie. But yeah, I have a trimmer. So when I type, it's kind of funny, because like I do write, and it's easier for me to type than for me to write. Um, and so I type, but I double tap letters a lot. So I have to use like a spell check or an editor because I just start writing and I get lost in the writing to the point where I don't go back and change anything. But then I use the spell check, boom, and I may read something back once. Usually, what I'll do though is I'll write it and I'll push it, write it and push it, write it and push it. That what that means is I put out some good things and a lot of shitty things. But, the point is, and I was talking with, Sarah, who is also part of Trauma Talk. I forgot Sarah, and I shouldn't, because Sarah is an awesome person. Uh, they are badass, and I was talking with Sarah. Oh, what were we talking about? I just forgot. Oh, shit. Hey, Lisa, what's up? How you doing? Um, so does anybody want to hop on? Actually, I should have asked that to begin with. We're an hour 18 in. If anybody wants to hop on for a minute or two and they have something they want to talk about, let me know. First of all, has anybody in there seen the movie Me Oh shit, Boy Meets Girl. Boy Meets Girl. So I'm just gonna type it in here because I feel like everybody needs to see this movie. It is an indie movie, so it does have that indie flair. Um, but it is a trans movie. And I think everybody needs to see a trans movie because I don't know how many people have actually seen a trans movie that is a happy trans movie, not an like, oh my God, this woman was killed, this trans woman was killed or raped and murdered. I am so happy that we get just this gem. It's a gem to me. Yeah, Boy Meets Girl. So Lisa, what's up? How are y'all doing? Lisa, Julie, Margaret, Sacred, everybody. Anybody want to come read something? Anybody want to come on and talk about music? Because I kind of figure that some of y'all out there have like a wide variety of musical tastes, and I do too. You know, I'm looking at my playlist right now, and I've got Christmas music in it. Um, Christmas music. Oh shit. Christmas music. I've got like The Weekend, Ludacris, David Archuleta. That's a Christmas damn song. But this is this is a hip hop list, so I've got a lot of hip hop in it. But I've got like classical lists and so on and so forth. Oh, Lisa, you're a classically trained pianist. Okay, pianist. What is your favorite to play? Do you play any Rachmaninoff? Um, let's see, who else? Who else would I like? I don't know. Yeah, let's see, Rachmaninoff, Brahms. No, or is that the cello concerto, cello sonata? I don't know. Shit. You're a classic dork. Lots of Beethoven. Okay. Nah, it's so that's you and Brandon are classically trained pianists. I love that. Brandon has beautiful fingers, beautiful hands. All pianists have beautiful hands. That is Chopin. Yes, yes. Okay, Franz Liszt. The Nocturnes, or is that Chopin? I don't know. I think that might be Liszt. I don't know. I can't remember. I used to play. I think Lisa, you and I talked about this. That I used to play tuba and baritone and cello and viola, and I still have and a bass that I have right here, a bass guitar that I still haven't learned to play and is mocking me and has been mocking me for years. You would think that since I've played cello, I would be able to play a bass guitar. Um, the trick is on me. Yeah. Lots of classical piano nocturnes. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Electric bass and jazz, man. Okay. Now that would be fun. I love jazz. And jazzismom.com. Uh, oh, his hand got crushed. Oh, that's rough, as a musician. That's, as a musician, that's probably the roughest thing. Like I couldn't imagine like not being able to use my hand to type or write anymore. So understood. Like I can't imagine losing my hearing. Um, Everything else is fine, but losing my hearing would really kill me. Miles Davis, yeah, yeah, all blues. I like flamenco sketches by Miles Davis. Of course, Bitches Brew, all the classics. Miles Davis and John Coltrane, the whole that was it called Kind of Blue album? Yeah, that was pretty badass. Or was that John Coltrane with Miles Davis? I don't know. They played together. Um, yeah, yeah, I love cello too. Of course, the standard when I was learning was the dun 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 dun. Oh God, why can't I remember the one that Yo-Yo Ma played and made pretty famous, and then Maisky played and made famous again. The very first part where what it really is for the cello. Ah, fucking hell. Um, let's see. Hold on just a minute. I can't believe I can't remember this. If anybody in there remembers this, tell me. Yo-Yo Ma, famous cello piece. Yeah, there we go. Um, that's it. Thank you. Bach, cello suite, number one, G major, prelude. Fuck, I was like, why can't I remember this? So it's kind of funny because people hear it when they go, dun, dun, when people hear it, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. But what people don't understand is that is, in fact, a warm up for the rest of the suite. So it is actually practice and not usually, and wasn't meant to be played on its own until someone did it. I don't know if Yo-Yo Ma was the first person, but yeah. Uh, let's see, you like painting to that? Yeah. Okay. Um, it's let's see, it's from the damn birthday candles, they suck up memory. Yes, that is true. That is true. You like painting? Yeah, so I wish I could paint. I've painted one thing in my life. Well, I shouldn't say in my life, but one thing in my adult life, and, it turned out okay. It was a paint like, it was a class, paint like Bob Ross. Um, Dusty Mishmish uh, got all of us a little lesson, and it was kind of fun. But it wasn't kind of fun; it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. And my painting turned out pretty good. We had to paint like mountains and like clouds and like grass and all this stuff, and it turned out well. But I can't paint to really save my life. Egg can paint. Egg can do just about anything. Like, I'm envious of Egg because she is the true definition of an artist to me. And I shouldn't say the true definition of an artist because all of us on this platform are artists just in the fact that we write. We are all writers, so we all write beautifully. But Egg is, and I'm sure all of you on here too. So I shouldn't say the distillate of an artist. She's just proficient at a lot of things. Um, and I admire that. There are a lot of things that she can do that I cannot do, and I definitely admire that. That's what makes us simpatico and has led to us being together for this long. I appreciate art. Art to me is like one of the highest ideals, one of the things I hold highest, along with art, poetry. It used to be wine and stuff like that, but I don't drink wine anymore. Wine just is so like emblematic of my thought process. On my website, OnyxRose.net, the subscription packages are wine and lace packages. So like they're different prices, but the lace is a different quality for each. So for like the 1 month price, the lace is the least, the worst quality. And then when you get up to lifetime subscription, the lace is like the best French quality. So when I say wine and lace, one night I was talking with Sarah, and I was asking them to describe herself, and she was like, blah 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 blah. And then they asked me to describe myself, and I was like, I couldn't. This is the only way I can describe myself is like wine and lace, or wine and plums, or plums and currant, or something like that. Like I feel jammy, but I feel purple, and I feel colored by purples and dark purples and violets and lilacs and lavenders. My world, yeah, look, purples, yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it's not like I describe myself as, oh, I am a non-binary person. I do say that for the crowd, but when I get down and deep in a conversation, and honestly, so I like talking, and I can talk with anybody, for the most part. But what really gets me is like a 2 hour intense conversation. Like, so a super intense conversation for like 2 hours, about what people really like, what people really want, what people really feel like, what makes them tick, what makes them love this, what makes them hate this, why do they hate this? I want to know what you would bleed for. Shit, I'm frozen again. Okay, I want to know what you would bleed for. I want to know. all that shit, and I want it to be intense. I want us to match energy. Um, Thanks, Sacred. Oh, yeah, on the porch. Julie, thanks. Lisa, thanks. I'm gonna pop over there in just a minute. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Yeah, so, yeah, but the intense conversations are a part of it, and maybe a part of the neurodivergence that I have, and I think it's ADHD. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It has not been diagnosed. I have been diagnosed ADHD, but the funny thing is that people who are diagnosed ADHD and people who are diagnosed autism or on the autistic scale or spectrum more than likely have, I shouldn't say more than likely, but have like a 70 to 80% chance of having the other. So if you're on the autism spectrum, you have a 70 to 80% chance of having ADHD. If you have ADHD, you have a 70% chance of having of being on the of being autistic or being on the autism spectrum. Um, that's where ADHD meets. Supposedly it is like a mixture of characteristics of both autism and ADHD. The way I was explained in the beginning is that you have to have a diagnosis of both ADHD and autism. The way it is being explained to me now is that is not going to be the case. And with the next update of the DSM, it will be a well and true diagnosed condition with its own set of features. So that will be welcome because I'm pretty sure that is what's going to hit me. There's a lot of things that match up to ADHD, and so I claim it. I claim it because I'm not going to pay $3,000 for an assessment until the DSM changes, and even then, I don't think I will. I don't need another medical label. I already have enough, or not medical. I shouldn't say that. Medical. I don't know what to call it. I already have enough labels. I don't need another mental, medical, health, whatever label. Um, but labels are good for understanding ourselves. They're good for understanding what we think, how we think, what makes us tick. So when you put a label on it, you can be like, oh, so this, and this are because of this, and all of that is because of this, which is under this label. So, like when I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and when I was diagnosed and wasn't on my medication, I was having a lot of episodes. In order to balance that out, I started using drugs. Um, and for a while, the drugs kept my mind straight. It's also an ADHD thing. People, it's kind of funny. Hey, Miss Hughes, what's up? I haven't seen you in a minute. Um, so yeah, with the bipolar disorder, I started using drugs, and also with ADHD, it's kind of funny because stimulants, calm us down, or supposedly they do, or stimulants are supposed to calm the mind. Um, so with that in mind, I don't do pills. The pills I do prescription and I don't fuck with them. So I do take Adderall. Yeah, I don't fuck with Adderall. I just take it as is. I take the highest percentage right now. You went to No Kings 3 in Detroit yesterday. Had a blast. Awesome. I myself did not go to No Kings at all. And then I saw this perfect thing on Facebook today. And it was a conservative guy interviewing like this white lady, who was at the No Kings rally. And he was like, he was asking her, he was like, it's kind of funny, for such diversity. I'm looking out in the crowd, I only see white people. And he thought he had her in a trap. And she was like immediate. She was like, "Black people don't need to be out here." She was like, "Black people have put their lives on the line, especially Black women have put their lives on the line so many times. It's not them that needs to be out here. They will get arrested first." And she's right. That is why I didn't go, because I know that if any shit pops off, they're going to come after me first. They're not going to come after some white woman. They're going to come after me. And so she was 100% correct when she said Black people don't need to be here, because Black people will get, that shit first. So, especially a Black trans person. I'm not stupid, and I'm not going to put myself in harm's way like that. Also, aside from that part, um, it's just I have like a fear of being in crowds. And that's the big thing. Like that's it, it's too many people. It's too many people for me. And also I need to be near a bathroom because I have Crohn's disease. Um, and if I have to go, I have to go. And a lot of times, if I have to go, I don't have a lot of time. Um, and if I'm stuck in the middle of a crowd, fuck that. I can't do crowds anymore. It makes me too nervous. Yeah, the bathroom issue makes me nervous, but um, it's more of a phobia now. So I'm yeah, it seems like Detroit would be a diverse crowd, like A-Town down, Atlanta, would be a diverse crowd, because these are Black pockets, but it's like, Portland, like, how many Black people are gonna be in Portland? Maybe some, but, like, I don't know that there are gonna be a lot of people, not like Atlanta, not like Detroit, uh, you know, Black, brown so, misuse, does Detroit have the largest, Muslim, I shouldn't say category, but Muslim amount of people. I think Sarah lives in that area, and she did say that Detroit was, or maybe it was, uh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, like, so Detroit is cool. Like there are some Black meccas, and I can see Black people being in the No Kings rally and march then, but in places like Kansas and I don't know, like the breadbasket of the United States, wherever like smaller ones were, like it just wouldn't make sense for me. Now that's I'm not speaking for every Black person because I can't. Henry Louis Gates Jr., who does the Know Your Roots thing on PBS, where he interviews people and traces their roots, their genealogy. Um, he said no less. He said no less than 500 million African American people, and let's just say there's 500 million. I don't know what the number is because I don't remember the number he said, but let's just say there's 500 million. So he said for 500 million African Americans or Black people, because I just say Black. So 500, let's dispense with the people of color, because people of color is not Black people. I'm a Black person. People of color are people of color, like brown, so on and so forth. So Native American, um, Latino, Latinx, so on and so forth. But you can say Black people and people of color. So, um, oh shit, I forgot what I was saying. That's what happens. I go on sidetracks. My mind goes on like little sidetracks. Shit. Oh well, I forgot. Yeah, I hop from let me tell y'all something cool. Like I told myself I wasn't gonna say anything, but I thought it was so cool. Last night I was on Facebook, and there's this thing because I have this thing, and now don't think I'm fucking crazy, y'all. All right, but I feel, and I'm not gonna even say I feel. I know that I can read energy, um, and I can read, being able to read a crowd, being able to read a room, being able to feel. the energy in the room, being able to feel the energy of a person. So the there was a I don't know, it was called a test or something like that. But basically, this person was like, okay, what I want you to do is to close your eyes. And so, of course, I did. And then they were like, take, a couple of breaths. And we went through some breathing. And they're like, okay, so I'm holding up a card. I need for you to tell me what the color of the card is that I can see. And then the person was like, tell me the first thing. And I was like, okay, green. And it was fucking green. The very first thing, like it flashed in my head. Like I could see it. It was like boom, like a big flash. And then it was a dull color, like covering my face. And I was like, holy shit, this is green. And then I did it again, a second time, y'all. A second time. I did it. It was red. And I could feel like I don't know if it was fire, but it was warmth and it was like here. And I was like, holy fuck, you know? And it was, yeah, misuse. Yeah. Oh, you're an extreme empath. Yeah. So my empathy level is really high. I've had to learn to put up boundaries. So, um, what I'm speaking about is clairsentience. Clairsentience is the ability to feel energy, to read energy, without necessarily being drawn into it. Like you can step back, read energy, and not let that energy affect you. Now, the cross between a clairsentient and an empath is that sometimes that energy can overwhelm you. And, being an empath, energy can definitely overwhelm you because like as an empath, you feel other people's feelings, and sometimes that pain translates into your own pain, or my own pain. But yeah, this is my I've always been kind of sensitive, and then of course trauma, and pain, informed my life. And and also it's not just that. I've done a lot of breathing work, I've done a lot of grounding work, I've done a lot of energy work. So and what I'm trying to do is fine tune my empathy and fine tune my clairsentience, my being able to read energy. And I should say, yeah, intuition, energy, reading, boundaries. And I should say, like, in terms of like the whole clairsentience, clairvoyance, all the clairs, which basically means psychic. Um, Everybody has this ability. Everybody has an ability to be a medium. It's just a matter of how you can get there. You need to practice it. It comes with a lot of grounding, comes with a lot of meditation, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of connection with nature, a lot of trying to talk to your spirit guides or whomever you're talking to. I'm not talking about, that's not who I talk to, but whomever you're talking to. So it can be done, and it's just absolutely, yeah. People with traumatic history are usually extreme. Yes, yes. And I when it's not funny that you said this, but I used to work at a magic store. Um, and so we had intuitives and psychics. And no joke, every single psychic there was informed by some traumatic event, um, or or multiple. Um, and that doesn't mean that you have to have trauma in order to have these, I don't even know, like, abilities maybe. That doesn't mean you have to have trauma. It just means that you have to it just means that you have to be sensitive, and then you can pick up on certain things that others miss. Yes, definitely, definitely. It is intuition part. It is um a feeling. It is being able to understand the shift, the subtle shift, uh, in energy. It's like when you're talking with someone, um, and you can match energy, you can trade energy, or that person can suck your energy, or you can suck their energy. And that's happened to me a couple times to where I've had to block and just cease all contact with people, and I don't like to do that. I am not someone who does that because as a person, I feel like I am called to help people. That is what I feel my calling is. Um, so people come to me all the time with their problems, and I can feel when people have problems. Well, I can't tell you that, but I keep people's problems and secrets secret, so people understand that that they can come to me and they can unload, and I'm not going to divulge their secrets or anything. So if any of y'all need to talk, I'm here. Yeah, emotional vampire. It's like a psychic vampire. Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. Um, that's exactly what it's called. Yeah, sucking up people's energy. Um, um, for a long time, I did research on emotional or psychic vampires and versus just regular vampires who lurk in the shadows and have actual real people who donate blood to them and drink real blood. Um, yeah, same with me. Same with me, Miss Hughes. Same with me. Same with me. Um, and it has to be that way. And it's rough because um I can't tell anybody, but I do, like, there are things like, hmm, so okay, well, let me just stop there. But interesting things like people not believing in lucid dreaming or astral projection. Um And, like, I have a friend who's like, "Yeah, I don't believe that shit at all." And I was like, "Okay." So, that, the CIA did a study for, like, 30 years or 20 years or something like that on astral projection and lucid dreaming to see if they could get, people to do it, and that they have proven cases of, especially of one guy, who was told to sit in a room and to locate a sunken Russian boat, and uh, he actually did it. He actually did it. He astrally projected and found the boat. Um, and so for people who don't think it can be done, it's you don't have to believe in things for it to exist 100%. Well, let me take that back. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's kind of funny. Me and Egg talked about this tonight. And it you're gonna have to look at the research on this because it will be hard for people to believe if I say it. But there are 12 dimensions. There is not just one plane. There are 12. Hmm, 10, 2, 10, 2. 12 planes of existence. And you have to look that up because I am not joking on this one. And of course, with all that being said, nothing is real. It's all a construct. So all that you hear, not real. This laptop I just banged on, not real. It's not solid. You know, it's all a construct. We see it, our mind sees it, so it becomes true. But really, nothing is solid in this world. There is nothing solid. The atoms do not attach to each other and make things solid. It's just not that everything's moving so fast that what we see is what we project. So we feel that this desk is hard and it's right here. Yes, misuse. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So like when I start talking about this shit, people think I'm absolute nuts. So I tend to not talk about it that much. But yeah, no, tap into it, y'all. Tap into it. Um, the rabbit hole goes deep. Yeah, it goes deep. Uh, okay, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna have to go because I'm gonna hop on the porch for a little bit. Thank y'all for staying with me for almost 2 hours tonight. Um, come back. Like I said, tomorrow is Trauma Talk with Wendy the Druid, Sarah, the poet Miranda, and Brandon Elrich is so fucking gay. Um, it usually starts at 1. It can go at 2 as well. Then Monday night, tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All these are Eastern Standard Times. So 5 Eastern Standard Time, I will be with Sturge. Brandon Elridge is so gay, and myself. We'll be chopping it up for a couple of hours. And then if Samantha is still in this chat, Samantha Page, they and I will go live Thursday of this week, as far as I know. That may change. We haven't talked since Friday, so we'll have to clear schedules again just to confirm. And yeah, that's what I got coming up. I will be popping up live a lot because I got this new podcast machine, and I fucking love it. It makes it easier for me to do my laptop work. And I've got this handy dandy little microphone. So I appreciate y'all coming on. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Let me do my closing. No trash, no transphobia, no racism, no ableism, no sexism, no homophobia. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck ICE. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.